All right, cool. Can everybody hear me okay? Those on video, give us a little thumbs up if you're good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, cool. So we just gone 9 o'clock. I'll just hang on for another minute or so until anybody sort of comes in a little bit late, but it is recording and we'll start fairly soon. So glad to see we've all got something to drink. Most of it looks non-alcoholic. Let's have a quick look. What do you got? Let me see. Beer. That's a massive glass of wine. Very good. That's a tumbler of something. You can have whatever you want in that. All right, all good. All right, just give it a few moments. So very similar to last week, I'm going to create a bit of a resource. So a bit of bit of paper, and I've also scanned something from one of my journals that I'll be uploading onto the email that will follow this sometime tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to try and stick to the time as best as I can, give you some, information nuggets that you can take away and apply the very next day, essentially. You can hopefully think about supplements that are worth considering purchasing or using, and some supplements that are maybe not so worth it. Andrew has asked us about a supplement from MyProtein called ThermoPure. So it's a really, really good example of a fat burner supplement. And we'll look at the sort of issues, not the issues, but the considerations that anybody will need to have when considering buying, that's the cider coming through. Considering buying any supplement, okay? Basically about dosage, which we'll discuss a little bit later on. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully I'll keep it to 30 minutes, 35 minutes. If any questions that you have come into your head, feel free to write them down in the chat box. I'll try to catch them. If I don't manage to catch them tonight, I will definitely refer to them and answer them in the email, okay? So if anything comes to you now, feel free to fire it in. I'll see if I can handle it and answer it tonight. Otherwise, email me or message me and I'll get to it tomorrow, okay? That's it. Otherwise, it's going to be fairly short, 30 minutes. Going to cover the majority of the supplements and particularly dosage as well. Okay, so ideally, what I want for you guys to be able to walk away with is think about supplements that are worth buying, how much of them to have in terms of dosage to make sure you get the right effect, and then secondly, things to sort of look out for when you're purchasing supplements offline, and which ones to sort of completely avoid. Okay, and that's it essentially. Okay. Cool. Last couple people just kind of coming in, so that's cool. Got quite a few on, so fantastic. If you've not obviously caught the previous webinars, they will all be in the emails that I send out on the bottom under the kind of YouTube channel. So obviously with supplements, if everybody remembers the Les Mills UK webinars I did end of last year, when I spoke about the priority pyramid, where total calories at the bottom, macros, micros, meal timing, and then right at the top is supplements. Okay, so very first webinar we did was about adjusting macros and calories for being under lockdown. Last week we jumped into protein because that was one of the biggest questions that were asked off the back of the first webinar, And then a few questions were raised about supplements, hence why we're jumping to this one. Okay, so the main thing is to appreciate that food is numero uno. Food comes first, as always, but supplements can certainly be extremely handy, particularly if you are really, really busy. But you got to appreciate where they kind of lie. Okay, I use the analogy, and it's in the written resource that you're going to get, about like a car. So essentially, food is the engine, food are the tires, food is everything else, and the supplements is like a nice air freshener. Okay, it's that kind of thing. You can sit in a nice car, unless you have food coming in, the right amount of macros, the right amount of total calories, it's completely pointless if you're sitting there with a very nice steering wheel and lovely smelling air freshener. Okay, it's just completely pointless. All right. Very short little bit. I'm going to talk about. I wanted to mention of the protein one. I did it in the video that I posted up on my Instagram about dairy and the slight kind of scaremongering that dairy sort of had in the press and in the media. Obviously, generally more from kind of plant and vegan kind of demographics. So I just wanted to kind of say, when I'm talking about protein, reference dairy and yogurts, all that kind of stuff, and whey protein, casein protein, absolutely 100% safe, effective, no issue there at all. Okay, we don't need to worry about any scaremongering, any talk about hormones, anything on chemicals, you name it. Humans been drinking dairy milk and products for decades. If there was any issue, it wouldn't be on the market. Okay. For one, secondly, in terms of a food, super valuable. Protein, fats, carbs, micronutrients as well. It's a great source of protein, a great source of nutrition as well. Okay, so just don't be put off it. Generally, if you are wanting to influence somebody and get them aligned with your belief, you do two things. You take a moral high ground, and then you do a bit of scaremongering. Okay, and that's generally what comes across sometimes about some of those kind of products. Okay, so obviously your choice as to where you want to go. If you're on an inclusive eater, you do not need to be feared or be worried about having any kind of dairy. Okay, I just wanted to kind of put in there because it's still a really great source of food. Cool, let's jump straight into so supplements. So there's two avenues I could have gone down with this one. I've labeled them into like performance and health supplements, and then also essential and like optional. So essential is pretty much the essential bunch, the ones that have stacks of research based against them, the one that's been done in human research, and the ones that are going to actually give you an effectiveness, okay, an actual change, improvement in performance or recovery and in health. So those three factors would include it into be what is an essential supplement. The optional ones generally fall under the kind of category of they're fairly safe, they may elicit a small change, can be a bit costly. If you are using any of the kind of optional ones and you're happy to continue with them, then I'm certainly not going to stand there and knock them out your hand or try to convince you that you shouldn't kind of buy them. Okay, so that's more of an optional one. You crack on if you need to, but it's not really considered essential. And then more of the health supplements as well. Okay, so let's just jump straight in. The first one, as most of you may know, so hopefully you can see this. Okay. Supplements for GFIs. Up here we have essential, performance dealing with first. We're dealing with performance first, and then with the optional. Okay. Numero uno, number one is caffeine. Okay. Caffeine obviously comes from coffee beans. You can buy caffeine capsules as well. So if you don't like coffee, you can always buy caffeine capsules. All right. There is a slight difference, and there is a slight benefit of having caffeine from coffee sources. There is something within the kind of coffee bean that gives it additional kick or benefit, or I think it's a digestibility issue with caffeine through coffee as opposed to just caffeine by itself in a capsule, right? But if you don't like coffee, you do have the option of just buying caffeine capsules. Normally come with about 200 milligram dosages. Otherwise, if you're a bit of a coffee buff, then you're pretty much set. Okay. In the resource, I've referenced a couple of different coffees from like McDonald's, Starbucks, Costa, etc., and instant coffee to give you a rough idea as to how much milligrams you get in a cup of coffee from your favorite cafe. Okay. Essentially, a medium strong brewed coffee from Starbucks or Costa will have around about 180 to 200 milligrams of caffeine. Okay. An espresso around about 75 to 80 grams, and an instant cup of coffee around about 75 to 80 grams milligrams as well. Okay. So caffeine, for stimulants, for coordination, for performance, for central nervous system, it is an incredible and without a doubt a true stimulant. When you buy a lot of the pre-workouts, when you buy a lot of the fat burners, caffeine is the working ingredient. Okay, so generally, if you're looking after your money, if you want to be sure you're heading in the right direction in your pre-workout, pre-training, pre-teaching routine, having something like a double espresso or a coffee with a bit of fruit or a banana, something like that, 20 to 30 minutes beforehand, you're absolutely set. Okay, it doesn't really get better than that. Handful of jelly babies if you like, double espresso, double macchiato, coffee, whatever it is, and you're all set. You don't need to buy all the expensive pre-workouts that you get. Okay, that is the working ingredient in the pre-workouts, right? Caffeine. Now, the key thing is dosage. So it goes off of kilograms body weight. Essentially, all right, I know you probably can't maybe read all that up there, but it's 2 to 4 milligrams per kilogram body weight. All right, so if you're a little bit short, a little bit petite, weigh around 55, 60 kilograms or so, times about 2, and that will be the kind of dosage that you're looking for 20 to 30 minutes before your activity. If you're a little bit of a larger lump like myself at about 110, 115 kilos, times that by 2, and obviously that's the kind of numbers that I need to be aiming for, okay? If you're not a big coffee drinker, then common sense will kind of tell you to start off on a lower end range, around about 1.5, see how that goes, okay? If you jump in with a 3 or 4 milligram per kilogram body weight and you've not had coffee before, you will literally be bouncing off the fucking walls, okay? So just common sense will apply. If you are a serious coffee drinker, then yes, you probably will need to be upping towards the 3 and 4 milligrams per kilogram body weight, okay? Studies have shown you can take up to 6 and up to 8 milligrams per kilogram, but those are for the very short and acute and specialist sort of needs, okay? I wouldn't be going along with that. Generally between 2 and 4 milligrams, beg your pardon, will be absolutely plenty, okay? So judging by our body weights, hence why the double espresso or last cup of coffee would generally do the trick. If you're a big coffee fiend, then you might need to just have a little bit more, but it all just kind of depends on your preference and your coffee taste, okay? Obviously, if you're not a coffee fan, you've got the caffeine tablets to help you along, okay? Super safe, super effective, and super kind of simple to have, okay? Save yourself tons of money from pre-workouts and fat burners, all right? Next one. Just in case you can't read that, obviously, that is creatine, all right? Creatine monohydrate. So this one primarily will probably have, particularly with ladies and females out there, generally this is the one for the boys, okay? One for the lads, the rugby boys and the gym bros and all that kind of stuff, because this is primarily to do with having stronger workouts, increasing strength, increasing training capacity as well. So essentially, if you're in a strength sport, this is what it's all about, okay? It is probably the most anabolic, most effective supplement that will actually increase strength and performance. So for cyclists, for group instructors, for strength athletes, powerlifters, strongmen, whoever, creatine monohydrate is an absolutely fantastic supplement, okay? Super safe as well. Dosages go 3 to 5 grams, all right, daily, 3 to 5 grams daily. Essentially, the main concerns that a lot of people have, particularly obviously ladies and females, is that it does hold a little bit of water, okay? It draws water into the muscle cell. Now, water, as we all know, I'm not going to be condescending by any means. You know that water is vitally important to function and to survive. Water in the muscle cell is a pretty good thing. If you increase carbohydrate and increase water into the muscle cell, you will immediately also look leaner because your muscle cells are getting pushed up further up against the skin. So you will immediately look leaner, not by decreasing body fat, but because your muscles are a bit fuller and a bit harder. Okay, so although you might gain 1 or 2 pounds of so-called water weight, it is water. It's not body fat. Okay, so unless you are a weight category professional sportsman or sportswoman, it's not really something that you should need to be worried about. Okay, for fitness instructors, it's just that tricky slope or balance up of, you know, if you just teach classes, and that's it. You're not overly bothered about performance or recovery or doing any additional training, then I would say it's probably not really worth your while. Okay, if you do train and you take your extra training quite kind of seriously, if you do maybe a bit of CrossFit, a bit of something else, or do a bit of sport on the weekends, or you just really like training super hard when you do teach, totally cool, then yeah, it probably is worth a punt and a bet to see how it goes for a cycle of 2 to 3 months. Okay, different loading phases. You can load up for 5 days with 20 grams. You can load up for like 10 days at 10 grams, or the most common frequency for most non-professional sports people like myself, I just go on a 5 gram daily dosage for 2 months, come off for 2 weeks and go back on for 2 months. Okay, nice and simple, easy way to kind of manage it. 5 grams whacked into your protein shake any time of the day, no problems at all. Ideally, you co-ingest it with a bit of carbohydrate because that aids its absorption into the muscle cell as well. Okay. When you are dealing with power movements and strength movements, if you go back to your level 2, level 3, different energy systems, creatine, phosphate is that 1 to 10 second power energy system. So if you're doing so the classes, if you did teach things like maybe attack, combat, grit, and sprint, yep, you'll be tapping into that energy system on a regular basis. So again, it may be worth your while. Okay, may not, maybe, but it is a great supplement that would be classed as essential because lots of human studies, super safe in terms of value, in terms of cost per benefit, it's crazy high, right? Crazy high. So it's not just for men, right? Not just for men. All right. Last one is going to be beta-alanine. So if you ever have purchased a pre-workout that's giving you that tingly face, it's because of this thing right here. Okay, pretty much a pH kind of buffer. So when you are training in a lactate kind of energy system and you start getting that burn, generally the pH levels in your muscle cells start taking a sharp decrease. If you can stave off that sharp decrease, then you can sustain muscle contractions for longer, i.e. make you work longer, work harder, and increase your obviously kind of training capacity. So it's a pretty good supplement to kind of have. I can't remember the dosage off by heart. It's on my sheet somewhere, but fairly safe, fairly new in comparison to the other two supplements, but definitely has a performance advantage, particularly with time to exhaustion on cyclists, on gymnasts, on rugby players, and college American footballers as well. Okay, so if you are into performance and you do a lot of training in that kind of lactate threshold, so again, the classes and programs around the attack, pump, combat, grit, sprint kind of stuff, be really, really kind of beneficial. Okay, it will just delay that onset of tiredness and fatigue. All right, essentially, that's it. In a lot of pre-workouts, you'll find caffeine and beta-alanine used together a lot. Generally, those supplements are pretty expensive. You'll pay maybe between 25 to 35 pounds for about 400 gram of pre-workout. Okay, you can buy beta-alanine just all by itself, and you can whack it with creatine into your whey shake once a day or before your workout or after workout or whatever. Okay, so you can get all the stuff that actually works without all the fillers and all the nonsense and all the little add-ons and all that kind of bullshit that comes with the pre-workout. Just get the stuff that actually does the trick. Okay, cool. Optional stuff. Let's move along quickly. BCAAs. All right. So very, very popular supplement. Generally marketed, surprisingly, as an intra-workout. Okay. If you've followed a lot of my kind of stuff, you'll know that generally, if you're training in high intensity zones, your heart rate's above 75, 80%, your body is burning through glucose and carbohydrates super quick. Okay. Your preferred energy source, your go-to, is things like glucose, cyclodextrin, okay, the single and mono simple sugars, okay, carbs, glucose, not BCAAs. BCAAs, for those who do know or may not know, is 3 amino acids. All right, branch chain amino acids. Okay, talk about brain. Branch chain amino acids. Okay, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Excuse me. They make up 3 out of the 20 amino acids. Okay, so how it kind of normally runs is you have like protein, which is like 20 amino acids. essential amino acids that your body cannot produce, so you have to have it through food or drink. And then you have BCAAs, all right? So 3. So you have 3 BCAAs, 8 essential amino acids, and then 20 amino acids from whole proteins from like food, okay? Now, essentially BCAAs have been marketed to give more energy, prevent muscle soreness, and a whole bunch of other kind of stuff, okay? Now, it is beneficial because it's 3 out of the 20 amino acids, and it's got the main one in called leucine, all right? But if you're having adequate protein throughout the day, there is 0 benefit from supplementing with BCAAs, all right? If you're on the protein webinar, and if you think about now having protein consistently throughout the day, whether it's 3, 4, or 5 times throughout the day, you will have adequate branch-chain amino acids running through your body, okay? So again, another big money saver as long as you have adequate protein. If there was an argument to supplement with essential amino acids, so they are EEA, would be if you are vegan or plant-based, okay? Because you need to have a really, really clued up, really, really great diet and very varied to make sure you get all 8 essential amino acids. And that's obviously one little slight difference between plant and animal sources regarding amino acids, okay? So, branch-chain amino acids, yeah, they are safe, okay? They are key because you want that leucine, you want one of those branch chains in your body on a regular basis to make sure that we are more synthesizing, we are more anabolic than being catabolic, okay? Muscle tissue is continually getting broken down 24/7, and you'll maintain your muscle mass and increase your muscle strength if we are more synthesizing, which is like plus, anabolic, than we are breaking down, okay, which is more catabolic. So we only spike our cells being synthesizing and anabolic when we ingest protein through food, hence why moving your nutrition to have 3, 4, or 5 protein portion feeds is so much more beneficial and healthier than maybe just having like 1 or 2, which a lot of clients normally can start off with, okay? So yeah, just to try to wrap up on the BCAAs, if you're really taking BCAAs, if you like the drink, by all means, crack on. If you're teaching 2, 3 classes back to back and you want an intra drink, carbs is the drink that you want, okay? Throw some BCAAs in there if you want to make things taste nice and etc. Not a problem. However, your intra fuel is definitely going to need to be carbohydrate based. If you're having enough protein around the workout, you don't really need to worry about branch-chain amino acids, okay? So quite expensive, but the benefit, if your nutrition is fairly sorted, isn't really massive, okay? Isn't really massive. Sorry, I got a little message here from Zoom. Cool. The next one is, gone blank, 2 seconds. Next one, performance, optional. Sodium bicarbonate, that's fine. Cool. I'm not going to spend too long on sodium bicarbonate. So Na is just the chemical symbol for sodium. Another pH buffer for the muscle cell. However, you need to get the dosage really, really tied up really, really well. You need to get the timing really, really well, because if you don't get it right, you can really muck up your kind of GI comfort. Okay, and in slang terms, just means you're going to be running to the toilet at the wrong times. If you're doing body attack and body combat, you don't want to be running up and down and jumping tuck jumps with a dodgy stomach. Okay, so sodium bicarb, the effect and the evidence is pretty good, but risk to benefit isn't really that kind of great. Okay, all the little things that you need to do to make sure you get the benefit is not really applicable for group instructors who are running around between different jobs, running between different classes, have a family, have a work life. That might work well for a single competition under the guidance of a sports nutritionist and professional athletes. Okay, so that may work for a very small group, but for us in general application, it's just not going to hack it. Okay, it's just not going to be applicable. Cool. So quick run through of all the kind of performance supplements from the 3 essential down to the 2 that are optional. All right. So feel free to top up your drink quick, not be too long. So this is health. And I realized the timer starts when you actually open up the the application for Zoom. So I've only got 8 minutes left according to that. So health, essential. Vitamin D, okay? So vitamin D involved in two main major things, bone support and immune function, okay? Two real kind of key things. Also, in recent research has a bit of an inclination towards strength improvement if you are deficient, okay? Foods that are high in vitamin D, eggs, poultry, and fish, oily fish, okay? Generally, a lot of people are quite deficient because one, depending on the climate they live in, they don't get exposed to enough kind of sunlight, all right? And the body can synthesize vitamin D from sunlight. And a lot of them don't eat enough of those healthy foods that I've just mentioned, okay? In terms of healthy dosages, you're looking to make sure you have at least 2,000 to 4,000 international units. So the little IU stands for international units. Ideally between 2,000 and 4,000 will be absolutely bang on. If, again, plant or vegan instructor with that nutrition approach, then you'll probably want to head up towards the higher end of that scale because you obviously will not be eating poultry, eggs, or dairy, okay? That's that pretty much in a nutshell. Pretty essential, solid evidence for immune support and bone development, okay? Next one. Omega-3s. Okay, omega-3s really high from oily fish, mackerel, and salmon notably. Problem with Western diets is that the ratio between omega-3 and omega-6 isn't that great. The ratio between 3 and 6 is normally around about 1 to 5, okay? For health benefits, we really want to try align the ratio between omega-3 and 6 more to like a 1-to-1 ratio. So essentially, people with a Mediterranean diet with high oily fish, high nuts, high foods and olive oil and all that kind of stuff have a really, really great generic baseline of health over typical American and British diets, okay? The key thing with omega-3, again, is dosage. So in the bit of research that you're going to get on the bit of kind of paper, we talk about EHA and DHA. Those are two different compounds within omega-3, and you add them together to make sure that you get at least 2 grams every day. Okay, so you have EHA, DHA. You have a value there and a value there. Okay, some supplement companies will have really kind of low values, which means that you need to take 5 or 6 tablets to get the required dosage. Right? Typically, your total EHA and DHA needs to equate to 1.8 or 2 grams at least. Okay, but again, that is a fantastic supplement, well backed, well researched for cardio function, for cancer risk lowering, for anti-inflammatory. It's just an all-round absolute must-have, okay? Ideally, if you have a diet in mackerel, if you eat mackerel and salmon on a regular basis, the need for that, it will be obviously be diminished. If you don't like those food groups, salmon and mackerel, then definitely every day you need to be taking 2 grams of omega-3 fish oils, okay? Next one. If you can read that, that's a multivitamin, okay? Multivitamin. So this is 100% RDA multivitamin. So if your diet's pretty kind of good, you'll probably not really need to worry about it, but everybody has the preferred foods. So to make sure that you cover all the bases of all the vitamins, of all the minerals, if you see your 100% RDA multivitamin once a day as a simple life insurance, nutrition insurance kind of policy, all right? Super cheap, because it's like low kind of dosage, but it's a minimum recommended daily allowance for every vitamin and mineral, okay? Not a bad way just to add things and make sure you get everything. Because we are not generic people. We don't always sit around in our desk. We all be doing additional exercise, intensity, activity, and all that kind of stuff. So to make sure you're covered with a multivitamin, it makes common sense, okay? Optional. What else have we got optional? Let me think. Sorry, threw me with that question. No, just omega-3s. All right, so the question came in, would you recommend omega-3 only or a mix of the 3, 6, and 9? Just the 3, okay, because you want to positively influence that ratio. Where am I? Oh, that's it. Okay, no, hang on, options. All right, I'm going to leave them out. Calcium, iron, and magnesium, okay? Everything will be in the handout that I'm going to kind of send you later on. I'm not going to go through all of them yet. Just because we're running out of time, I want to quickly just jump to the question that Andrew asked earlier on about ThermoPure, okay? So there's this product on MyProtein, bit of a fat burner, marketed as, fat burner, thermogenic, help fat loss, all this kind of wonderful stuff, okay? And they generally prey on people, obviously, that are overweight, wanting to lose a few kind of pounds. Throw a couple of fancy words in there, bit of thermogenic, burn fat and all that kind of nonsense, green tea extract, and it all sounds really kind of wonderful. When you look into like the dosages, for ThermoPure, it's not that bad, but essentially the green tea extract, the main catechin is a compound called EGCG. And green tea extract only has about 50% of that very main catechin that actually does the kind of work. So you need to have about 600 milligrams of green tea extract in order to elicit any sort of benefit. And you read kind of ThermoPure, you need to have 3 capsules that will give you 375 milligrams. Okay, so essentially you need to almost double that dosage to get the required dosage of the working part of that compound, if that makes sense, okay? Similarly with caffeine and ThermoPure, I think it's 180 or 185, 190 milligrams. And that's basically just a coffee as well. So again, like I said before, you don't need to worry about buying the kind of fat burner stuff if you sort your nutrition out and if you have an occasional coffee before you work out. That fat burner main ingredient is what you're going to be having as a pre-workout, okay? And that's pretty much it. The one that I want to talk about quickly is, I'm not sure I'm going to get cut out of here. Hopefully not. It says less than a minute. Let me see. I'm just going to keep going. Apologies if I get cut off. So it's raspberry ketones. Okay, again, praise on the kind of weight loss sort of community. Absolute garbage, right? There's not one human study in raspberry ketones. Utter bullshit that prey on people that are, sad to say, literally desperate to try and lose a little bit of weight. Don't worry about addressing lifestyle or nutrition. Just take a couple of pills and melt pounds off of me. It doesn't quite work like that. Bit of hard work, bit of consistency, focus on the fundamentals, and you will, get your weight loss goal that you kind of need. Raspberry ketones, absolute bollocks. Comes off literally because it has a similar molecular structure to a stimulant and the stuff you find in the chili peppers, that capsaicin, okay? That's it. But absorbed by the body completely differently. All the stuff you buy out of supplements are synthetic. They don't come from raspberries themselves, okay? Because it costs an